Hey CMG Nation, I'm Knight and I'm so excited to be bringing you guys this interview today on CMG Studios because I was really lucky to get to speak with Pekka from the Chasmac Gaming LATAM South team just a couple of days ago. Just talking about their recent successes in the LATAM South region, specifically in the monthly finals, the monthly qualifiers, and most recently, I guess, the Queso Cup. Of course, overall this year, they've done fantastic and are currently number 2 inside of the BSC World Finals qualifier for their region. And yeah, they'll be facing up against AC Milan Clash in the round of 8 on August 6th, so be sure to tune into that. That will basically decide which team is going to be able to get that number 1 seeding at the end of this month. And of course, I want to mention that this interview happened over text, so you guys are going to have their response in English because they speak not English as their first language, and I'll just be reading their response out verbatim. But in the first question, I asked them about Esports, which we know is an extremely strong team. Inside of the Queso Cup, they were number 1 after the group stage round and are roughly top 5 inside of the monthly qualifier points, just going into the BSC split number 2. And yeah, CMG easily destroyed the Esports in the playoffs of the Queso Cup and just swept them, no sets lost at all. So I wanted to ask them, how were they able to win that game? But they were actually defeated by them in the monthly qualifiers day 1. And yeah, Pekka responds and says they're a great team and have been standing out a lot recently, but the CMG team was more prepared for the Queso Cup than the monthly qualifiers, because going to the monthly qualifiers, they may have felt like they had a very good chance to qualify, and it wasn't as high of a stakes because it was double elimination. On the other hand, Queso Cup, we know that is a single elimination bracket inside the playoffs. Pekka says they also hadn't trained and he was feeling sick that day. So just a little bit of insight into why that may have happened, just a back-to-back tournament, why the results were so different. And I asked them which team they're actually worried about most this monthly final, and Pekka responds very confidently that they're really not worried about any team in the monthly final, but they think the confrontation versus AQM is the most important, which I absolutely agree. That again is going to decide the number 1 seeding for their region. Yeah. Next, I asked them about the favorite and least favorite maps in the map pool. We know the map pool has created a lot of controversy in the competitive scene on Twitter, especially recently. And they responded that they really like the out in the open for knockout. They think they're very good at it, and I think that maybe has to do with the more aggro plays being available there because of the launch pad, and maybe that plays to their advantages, especially Firecrow, right? And they don't like open zone on the other hand. It's more of a strategic map. You play very slowly with long range brawlers, which obviously is the opposite of their aggro play style. And the comps, they say, are quite difficult to choose inside of Power League, and the open map, they overall just don't really like it. I asked them what they thought about Minecart Madness. We know this is a very hot topic of contention inside of competitive. A lot of people think it's RNG because if you have that minecart in your favor in both rounds, you're basically just going to be winning or have a higher chance to win. And CMG responds that their whole team thinks that competitive players mostly don't like it, but they like it a lot, and they added the LOL right after. So that's very interesting because that's a topic that is very, very one-sided inside of competitive usually, and seeing that this very top team actually enjoys the map, it brings me a little bit of joy as well. I think it's just hilarious. But you know, next question, I asked them if the overall map pool is actually good or bad for CMG, and they responded quite positively and said it helps the team because they're different maps from what they are used to, so it doesn't only throw off them a little bit, but it throws off the opponents a lot, and it seems like they are doing very well in these maps and feel comfortable very quickly on them, which is allowing them to get huge advantages inside of competitive in the recent months. Finally, I asked them about Byron, right? Because Byron is one of those brawlers that we really don't see it inside of NA and EU as a support brawler anymore. We see it on Shooting Star, when Bell, Piper are banned. It's just a great long-range option just to deal damage from very far away. But for support, as with Carl, with tanks like Daryl, we just don't see Byron as often anymore. And Pekka actually says that he recommends it still with tanks or aggressive brawls and thinks other regions should try it. He thinks that the other regions stop using it because of the nerf, but they don't see the nerf as something very substantial that makes the brawler leave the meta, and they still think he's a great support and highly recommend Byron. So yeah, maybe we will see the other regions start to try it once they get into the LAN and really prove themselves and show why their picks may be stronger than what EU and NA have previously discovered. And yeah, that's all I had the chance to ask Pekka. And again, thanks so much to the CMG Brazil team for helping me and giving me these responses. Really enjoyed reading over them and discussing this with them. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this episode of CMG Studios. I know this is a quick interview. We'll have a lot of great content for you guys coming up soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.